Greetings to my fellow humans and non-humans. Welcome back to the Tractorfella channel, where we know nothing about tractors. On today's episode, I think we're going to do something special. And I think it's time to resurrect the old vertical to horizontal Briggs. Let's look at the plan. I actually did try to do this a little less than a year ago. I'll throw some clips in. It failed, and then I decided to not look like a failure so early in my YouTube not goodness, so I'd never posted it. It's kind of funny what I tried to do. I think it would have worked. I just need a different size pulley on the engine. Greetings, YouTube world. On today's adventure, we're going to take the engine that we recently converted to run horizontally. I'm going to mount it up to a stand, and we're going to put some more hours under its belt. See how it performs. At first glance, we can see that there's some of the case that sticks out. So I had some extra conduit laying around. I cut 3 pieces. That should be able to space this out enough so that we can mount it up. And we are bolted up. Got some bolts there with fender washers. And then on the back side we have our pieces of conduit for spacers to make room for all the stuff in the middle with some locking nuts. I've had a heck of a time trying to find a pulley to fit on here. This does not key onto the end of our pulley, but I was able to find a way to center it and at least smash it on there. So I found these springs. I can't remember if they're from a brake kit that I did, but they fit perfectly there. And then I found this sleeve, which I cut down to size, which fits perfectly inside the spring. And then we had a couple of washers bolted on there, and it spins pretty true. What is up, YouTube? We're back for day number 2. What is this ridiculous setup? We have my Craftsman LT1000. We have noisy chickens. Yeah, we hear you. Quiet down, please. Got the Craftsman. Got our test engine. We got a smaller pulley on there. Grabbed the belt from my snowblower hookup. Gave it a little twist. And my plan is to fire up the Craftsman, which will then, in turn, start this little guy. I'm going to turn the fuel off on the Craftsman, let it run out, and then the little guy is going to take over and just keep her on running. And I'll turn the ignition off, won't have spark, won't have fuel. It'll just be an air pump at that point. I mean, we were good for a little bit. Let's do some refining here. Let's go again. May not have enough juice to do it. I think our pulley's too big. Oh, who knew a 5 horse couldn't spin over a 16 horse? Still not giving up. I took the spark plug out, so now, although it's not going to be a massive load, it should still be a load. Let's see if we can start it with the mower. Nope, it's just too much for the little guy. Alright folks, we gave it an effort. I think I'm going to call it here. We know that we can run a vertical shaft horizontally without any issues. But thanks for watching, hanging in there with me while I tried to cobble this contraption together. It was kind of a fun experiment either way. We'll see you on the next one. Anyway, here's the plan. As you know, the Merc has been completed. If you did not see the Merc episode, check it out somewhere up here if the link actually shows up. Durability test. We're going to take the Briggs and we're going to mount it to a fixture that I made for the video that I never released. We're then going to grab the snowblower from the Jolly Green Giant. We're going to run the belt from the snowblower directly to the Briggs. The Briggs will also be mounted on a pallet because the crankshaft is bent and it vibrates like crazy. This will hopefully help keep it in place. Which means we'll also have to elevate, or levelate, which is a word I just created, the snowblower attachment. Next, we're going to have a hinge with a 2x4 and a pulley. This will be used as a belt tensioner. So once we fire up the Briggs, we'll then pull down this 2x4, tightening the belt, making the assembly work, and hopefully some things happen. I'm kind of excited. This might be fun if it works. All of this, these little lines in the background, that's smoke and fire. And a little bit of brimstone too, because with my luck, this will probably burst into flames. Okay, let's go get our supplies. Let's go dig the engine out of here. My chair's falling apart. I'm very upset. Very upset. There she is. In all of her glory. We've got our super sweet carburetor mount cover. Probably not going to use the ripcord. That does nothing for this engine. I think this is, yeah, extra hardware. Okay. Oh crap. What do you know? We're leaking oil. There's one thing I've learned about my life. It's that I'm destined to spill oil and other fluids all over the place. First thing I want to do is reseal this oil pan, because I may or may not have reused the shredded gasket. Hey, still spins. What great news that is. Let's get our blade adapter off of there. Excuse me. My cold is mostly gone, but still lingering around a little bit. Surprised that comes off as easy as it does. I'd like to thank Mr. Briggs and Stratton for making all these bolts the same size. Now, this was a massive pain in the butt to get off the first time. Hopefully it's not so bad this time. This will be cool too, because we can inspect the slinger. Interesting. It's a good thing we took this apart. There it is, laying in the bottom. Not a good sign. That means we're gonna have to redesign our slinger. Yep. Well, that's not so great. That is definitely metallic debris in the form of paste. Probably should have used something other than the piece of an aluminum gutter. Let's pull out the spark plug so this thing's a little easier to rotate. Well, that didn't take much. A lot of carbon. I overfilled this crankcase a lot. It was blowing smoke when we were running it. So if I had to guess, the oil level was probably way up here. And so that added just a bunch of additional stress on the slinger, you know, trying to basically paddle its way through the oil. So we're going to have to make sure that we don't use so much oil next time. The funny part is the thing that might have saved us is the fact that there was too much oil in here. So the entire crank may have been just splashing through the oil, lubricating everything, because, I mean, oil's everywhere. 5/16 is our connecting rod bolt here. I'm surprised that broke and it didn't just bend, because I even put, well, maybe that's why it broke. I actually put a fold in the middle of it, so it's kind of shaped like a tray to help strengthen it. And that may have been its demise, but this is, I think this is aluminum. It's soft. I didn't expect it to actually snap off. Man, thing's 5 miles long, or it seemed to be 5 miles long. This engine had a lot of metal debris in it when I first started getting it running. It's possible that when the crank bent, it's been wallowing this out here. Or it could be hallucinating. That's also a very good possibility. Okay, I think I found a substitute. Although it's fairly lightweight. It's not as light as the aluminum gutter, but I think this will provide a little more strength. Plus I'll skinny it down a bit so that it's not this wide the whole way down. We don't need a frickin' full-on oar going through the oil. First of all, while this is still a large piece, I'm going to drill a hole that'll give us our proper size. It's a bit on the gloomy side today. Raining, 45-ish. Today we are going with a 1/4 inch bit. Displace some water with a 40th iteration. Gonna be hot? Nope, not bad. Woo, wrong side to grab. Alright, it's perfect. Let's get super scientifical on this one. What's the average little bitty engine take? Like a half a quart of oil? Quarter of a quart of oil? Roughly 3.5 plus 1 1/4. So that's 4 3/4 deep by 5 inches roughly wide. And then we need a certain depth, right? We don't want it to actually touch the crank, because then it'll just drown it and start burning oil. So what do you think? Come here, have a look with me. Maybe right there, 1.5 inches. 1.75 inches is getting pretty close. Inch is a little low. Yeah, I think 1.25 inches will be pretty good. So if we go up 1.25 inches, that still gives us about 3/4 inch of space between the oil and the crank. Oil, volume. So we know we're doing 1.25 inches. Well, I guess technically that'd be height. Times, I already forgot my dimensions, 5 inches wide. Alright. I don't do math in my head. 29.69 cubic inches. Okay, let's get that to a volume that I understand. 29.7 cubic inches to quarts. Does that even work? It does, look at that. Check it out. 29.7 cubic inches equals 1/2 quart. Wow, look at that. Oh man, what a guess. I'm changing it. 3/4 inch is quite a bit of material to have sticking down off the crankshaft. Every little bit counts for extra weight. It'll basically be 1.25 inches long. 1.25 inches of extra mass hanging off of that crank. That's a lot. So if we do 1.5 inches oil level, that still means we'll have a roughly 3/4 inch before this touches the oil. But that's if it were going straight down. When we mount it to the crank, I have no intention of bending it because I don't want to weaken it. I say we go up 1/4 inch, so that leaves 1/2 inch of space between the crank and the oil, and we can reduce the length of our splasher. Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm going to redo the coagulation here. 1.5 inches. That's 35. It's amazing what 1/4 inch does to this calculation. Cubic inches into quarts. 0.61 quarts. There we go. All this equals 35.5 inches cubed, which equals 6.1 quarts. All right, done. Now, we'll do 1.25 inches. I think that'll be perfect. Plus this thing's probably gonna flex. You know what, we're gonna start with 1.25 inches. Start long, shrink it later. Oh, that's a great noise. You wanna hang around and listen to that while I do this? Oh yeah. I'm gonna go clean up the edges. Oh. Alright, good news. So with this somewhat tight, the most that this can rotate is right about there. Because it hits right on the shoulder of the connecting rod. So that is encouraging. That means I don't need to do any provisions to make sure it doesn't spin around in circles, other than tighten this down appropriately. Next, let's check for interference. This guy goes here, and this guy goes in here. This guy goes on here. I know it's not timed. It's a flathead. There's no valve interference. We're going to be just okay. Going around like so. And it basically just takes the oil and launches it up there. There's a little hole right in here. You can just see it down there, that little guy. That's a hole that leads up to the lifters, if that's what you want to call them. Okie dokie, I think the revision is in. Let's have a look here. Took some of the weight off. I put some dimples in it. I have no idea if that's going to do anything or not. In my strange mind, I was thinking it might actually, grab onto the oil a little bit. Maybe help chuck it in places that it wouldn't normally go. I have no idea. I'm just playing around with this. Something silly to do. I'll show you a picture that doesn't suck. Just give me a sec. There we go. Alright. I think that's our final product. I might put even a little more oil than what we determined, because after it starts slinging and going everywhere, getting stuck up in the, up near the valves and on the walls and stuff like that, this value may drop. So I want to compensate a little bit for that. I know, probably overthinking it, but maybe not. Get in there. Thank you. In the top. There's our little dimple on the crank. Oh, there's two of them. Well, that's not fair. Oh, that's not a dimple. Okay. Freaking me out, man. Freaking me out. How do you time this freaking thing? If I had to guess, it'd be that notch right there. Lines up to the dot. Like so. Now, let me see if our camshaft is doing the right thing. There's power. Exhaust is opening. Intake is opening. Compression. Pow! Okay, so we're good. Get our Super Slinger 5000 put on there. And in we go. I did a quick search. Little baby Briggs, 5 horsepower engines. Rod bolts are typically around 15 foot-pounds. So not a whole lot. And that's probably it. Let's check our clearance to the bottom of the oil level. What did we say we're doing, 1.5 inches? That's still going to dip a lot. We'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario, this snaps off, gets lodged in here, and we have a timing issue forever. Okay, time for more exciting stuff. We're going to put some of this black Urtiva on the border here of our case because I don't want to buy a gasket. There's no point. I'm going to tear this thing apart once it explodes. Took brake clean, cleaned up the mating surface. Everyone on the internet says, wait till that's tacky and then stick it together. The instructions say smash it together immediately. We put everything back together on the inside, right? I hope we didn't forget anything. That might be a problem. A little 1540 for some assembly lube. There's a dowel pin that I didn't even see on the side here. There we go. Lined it up for us. How nice is that? All right. Cure, baby. Cure. Welcome back, folks. It's a new and beautiful day. So I think our RTV should be cured by now. And we could probably put oil in it. But there's one more thing I want to do. And that is, the last time we were doing this, or the last time I was doing this, secretly, I felt like we were almost running into... Well, that's interesting. That's not going to help anything either, is it? I feel like we were running into a situation where the key might... Hay traffic! Apparently it's hay season, even though it's not even close to hay season. Anyway, I feel like we had possibly a broken key, so I'd like to double check, make sure the key's okay, and then we'll go to the next steps. Are we forward thread or are we reverse thread? I can't tell, because there's sludge coming out of the front. A leaky seal? No, that doesn't happen. Looks like we are reverse thread. In other words, lefty-loosey. Standard operation. We don't get to play with Bertha very often. Let's put Bertha on destroy mode. Okay, well that wasn't even remotely tight, but it was nice to see Bertha still spins. Well, I can see the key and I can see the keyway, and they look pretty lined up to me. Do you see? I don't see any rotation. Looks perfectly lined up to me. Okay, well, nuts going right back where it came from. Let's do a nice gentle installation. That didn't even make it down there. I think we have a threading issue. Well, that is what you call hillbilly Loctite. Thank you for your service, Bertha. Let's do a further deletion of this governor fan. Since there's a owie, since there's a high probability that this was kicking back. Looks okay now. Man, I got bit somewhere else. What in the world? Something bit me. I'm also going to go ahead and get rid of a couple of other things on here that don't really need. That's going to go bye-bye. Interesting. Almost have sand down in that middle head bolt. That's weird. Don't need that. Put this back in here, sand and all. Okay, I think we're going to leave this here because it acts as sort of a part of the cover, I guess you could say. One thing we do need to address is this carburetor setup. The reason I say that is because this didn't seal worth a darn onto the engine intake. Plus it looks like we're missing our little white ring there. Hopefully it's in our spare parts container. Yep, there it is. Sweet, still in there. Oh yeah, that's on there. That's what I wanted. Oh yeah. Holy cow, that is really on there now. Get off the magnet. Thank you. Oh, that is way better. Found a new issue. Probably from me cramming this thing on here last time I did this experiment, but I thought this was like a galvanized pipe. This is a piece of plastic and it's broken on the bottom. So I'm not sure I'm getting full engagement onto the carburetor. So I'm actually going to take a saw and I'm going to remove some of the top material so that this doesn't prevent us from pushing it on further. Hopefully that'll give us some more engagement onto the carburetor and we get a full seal around there. Yeah, that definitely made a difference. Only thing now is I need to wallow out. We keep making sweet mods. I need to open this hole up a little more so that we can slide the whole thing over, get our full engagement, and, well, Robert is your uncle, as you know. Now with the intake manifold cut, I actually added a second O-ring behind the first O-ring. Who knows if that'll do anything? I don't know. Also, we've wallered out the top cover. Let's go ahead and install our hydrocarbon distribution center. There we go. Got a nice snug fit on the intake there. Now I just got to find the bolts to attach everything. Should have left that off until I mounted it to the piece of wood. Oh, well. That's going to be ugly. We'll recycle our nasty oil here. Yeah, it might actually be mostly brake cleaner. And we'll use this so I don't lose a finger. It's kind of round. I should do that more often. It's the first time I've ever actually used this drill press for that purpose. And look at that, we got a fit. Okay, we're making progress. Because I'm a smart human, I buried the bolts I originally used to tie this all together. I found one. Where's my new bracket? Please keep in mind I am not a machinist by trade, not even close. So a lot of my fabrication is gonna be really bad. But that's okay. You only learn by doing, right? I don't know. Well, that looks familiar. Did I keep them together? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Anybody just have an OCD attack? I did keep them together. What a smart boy. Well, 2 out of the 3. It's not so bad. Do these fit? Because if they fit... Oh, yeah. 6. Oh, what a great day to have a big pile of fender washers for absolutely no reason. Let's mount her up. Definitely looks silly using a square head bolt with a round washer, but that's okay. That may have been on high. I just pulled the head of the square bolt through the washer. And we're mounted. Got our washer mounts in there. Everything's bolted up. Tighten it down too much and you just pull that head right through the washer. Next, the only way I have to start this thing is with a drill, which turns out extremely hazardous for me just about every time. So, we're going to see what this little beauty has to offer that followed me home. So right now, for those of you watching this, we're going to tear the top off. For those of you watching this episode, we're actually tearing the top off to work on this. So, let's get to it. Well, I don't know anything about this little beauty. She just followed me home. I'd like to get the cover off, since obviously we have a slight issue here. There she be. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Oh, this is the one that has the steel balls inside. Oh, that's cool. No, I definitely cannot adapt that to our other machine. Well, I guess while we're at it, is she stuck? Release the brake with the cable. Oh no, we are ready. And we have a little bit of compression in there, just a little bit. And it's completely gone. There is, oh, no, it's back. Okay, to be continued. Well, that's going to present a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Next, we need to gather more supplies. Time. Exercise is good for me. Exercise is good for me. These are those big beefy pallets I was talking about. My garage is just super clean, so we better clean these off. Yeah. How exciting was that clip? Also, I got our fuel tank stabilizer attached. Totally forgot I was going to drill out this hole because this one's already tapped and then find an appropriate mate for it. But I didn't, so I found a nice little screw with a hex on there. I've even found an adorable little lock washer. And yeah, that baby's not going anywhere. Yeah, making progress. I like it. When you forgot your key, you find an appropriate, suitable replacement. This is quite a blessing, actually, because I thought I had removed it. And I was not looking forward to carrying it up here by hand. Ow. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've done. Okay. Oh, this will be a good time too to fix our shear pin. Forgot about that. That would have been annoying at the beginning of next winter. Welcome back, folks. It's a new and beautiful day. I've decided it's time to try to fire this up before we actually get any further in this project. Let's put some oil in it, throw the spark plug back on. Good news is the oil fill is right here. I mean, that's kind of good news. We can at least tilt the thing on its side, fill it with oil, and also pop that plug out and do an inspection with the bore scope. See if our slinger is still in there. So the first thing we're gonna do... it's road grader day today. That'll be nice. Nice smooth road today. Until they spray it with vehicle poison. So we're going to use 10W30 from Providence, but this has 0 markings on quartz, so that doesn't help us. So first I'm going to transfer oil into an existing container so that I can actually get a measurement out of it. How ridiculous. There's our fillation station. That's funny. Thread in to check. A lot of our other ones are touch to case to check. Of course, this doesn't have quartz on it, but it has ounces. So 19.2 ounces is 0.6 quartz. So we'll go with about 20 ounces. And I spilled. It's a successful video. Let's see where it shows up on the stick. Right at the bottom. Interesting. Wouldn't that be convenient? Check that out. Isn't that cool? The safe zone, just about to the top of the safe zone, is where our oil target was. That is pretty awesome. There is a key that we do not want to lose on this assembly. Let's put together our backwards centering device. Spring. Collar. That centers it enough. I know, you're thinking nuts and all of the above. I recommend you don't try this at home. We're going to use the original mower blade holder as well for some extra stability. Perfection. Let's see about where we want this thing. Somewhere in here. Should be just fine. Okay, let's screw this thing down. Alright. I am getting excited. You ready for victory? I'm ready for victory. Okay, here we go. Here's the overview. Flywheel is on and secure, as you saw. This is my sweet throttle contraption. I have a copper wire that you would use for a ground in your house, and it's sandwiched between 2x4s. That goes to our throttle lever. I had a lot of issues last time because this thing was just flopping in the breeze. I had absolutely no control if I wasn't holding on to it. So, this should keep the throttle... This should keep the throttle in one place. I have extended the ground wire for the coil in the event something happens that's super sketchy, like a massive fire, and I can just kill it here. Speaking of fire, pellets are fairly flammable. Okay, I'm gonna go grab a couple fire extinguishers. Next, I thought about using a ripcord and wrapping it around and pulling there to start it, but that seems like a lot of work. So we're gonna go with the wrist snapper. Yes, I know, a lot of you yell at me for using this, but don't worry. I have a beater stick here so that if the socket gets stuck on the nut there, I can just beat the socket off of it. And it'll all be okay. Let's get some throat spray and see if we can get an initial pop out of this thing. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a glass jar down here connected to our PCV system in the event we get a bunch of pullover for some reason, and a ton of oil comes out of there. Oh boy. I'm not freaking out. You're freaking out. We'll do part throttle. Stay on there, little guy. And here we go. Oh man, let's have some fun. Carburetor worked really well on this thing last time. Let's hope it still does. I only buy ethanol-free fuel for my small engine stuff, so I'd like to run this for a little bit, pull it off, remove the oil plug, and inspect it to see if our super slinger is still attached. I'm gonna move the gas. Primer. Primer is functioning. I'm gonna go low throttle just because it seems like the right thing to do. Plus this will be less likely to get stuck if this is spinning at the same speed as the flywheel. Okay. Oh. Oh, come on now. Running surprisingly well. The end play on this crank is really bad. Let's do it in slow motion to watch. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh man, it stinks. It's burning off all the crap stuck to the top. Fan is making great wind flow across the cylinder fins there. But yeah, this crank end plate probably wouldn't even notice something like that if it was back on its vertical axis. But oh geez, you guys, this is fun. Call me a goofball, but this is fun. Any oil pullover? None. In fact, there's still a carcass in there. Speaking of carcass, did you see that massive wolf spider that walked across the front? Scared the heck out of me. I hope I just put him to sleep. I don't want to kill a spider because it's such a beautiful day, but I think it's just taking a nap. That was a little shot of ether. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to dismount it from the pallet, and we're going to go ahead and check and see if the slinger's still attached and if there's any oil anywhere. I mean, what's the point of running this whole thing if it's just going to be run dry? Nah, I mean, all right, bye. All right, let's check out that valve train. Make sure we have oil up to it. This thing still vibrates a lot, and in the real world, that would probably end up in the demise of this engine. Vibration does bad things. This is going to be hot. Actually, not hot. Now that is hot. Oh, there's all kinds of oil up there. I didn't think this pallet thing through. Every time I drop something between the pallet, now I have to get the grabber to get it out. In other news, the wolf spider has awoken, and he is making his way outside. He has awoken from his fog, from ether. Oh yeah, look at all that. It's dripping down the sides here. Oh man, this is exciting. All right, I still want to check in the oil pan, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off and take a look. Come join me. But I'll be darned if it's not right up to the full mark. That's pretty sweet. All right, well, it's only sweet if our slinger survived. Cross your fingers. There we go. Ah, yes! We're still there. We're still functioning. I see oil on the end of it. That means we're doing something. Oh my gosh, this is fun. Don't you think so? Yeah, me too. You think oh, look at the pulley is slipping. Okay, well, that presents a bit of a problem. Let's see if we can resolve that problem. We'll see if the drill can even spin this. It was going to. Okay, well, that was something else. Too bad the pulley's too big. This may not be enough for the little monster now. We might have to get the Jolly Green Giant back out here and put it to the test. All right, I'm out of time. See you guys later. Welcome back, folks. It's a new and hot tub. Yeah. Anyway, I've decided that we should take it easy on old little crooked shaft here and go ahead and put on a smaller pulley just because I don't want to break it right away. That's this one. This is the one I've used before. What another beautiful day. There we go. Size comparison. And there's our newly created index mark from the pulley slipping, but that's okay. We're just polishing some rust away, right? Oh yeah. Well, hello to you too. Engine will spin this way. Belt will spin in essence this way. Yeah, that's what we want, because that's how it spins on the Jolly Green Giant. All right, little guy is installed. I found some wedges and wedged them in here, and I wedged one in here. Hopefully it'll keep this thing from sliding backward. I say we give it a shot. Here goes nothing. Pardon me. Bird watching. Oh, it's a cardinal. I thought that was a cardinal. We have a female cardinal that goes to all the glass around the house and all the vehicles and attacks it. Because it sees its own shadow and it's defending its mate from itself. And we're off. Trying. I'm going to work on securing the beast. All right, round 2. I put the wedges down here backward, so they're pushing on the blower deck. That's a lot of slappy. That's not very well anchored, for one. I reversed the top and the bottom belts. It'll be pulling from the top, which is more of a direct shot. Although it'll spin that backward, I don't think that matters. It's not going to be under a load. Well, that's terrifying. But she's working hard. I'll be back shortly. Yeah, I can't come up with anything at the moment. Let's just try this again. What happened? Snowblower's good. Getting some blow by. Suppose if this belt is too tight, there's a potential I could wipe out the crank bearing. One more round, and then we'll check the slinger, see if it's still there. I wonder if I can find a different belt. We could run a shorter belt to the setup, although the angles on the pulley would be a lot steeper. I don't know. I'll be back. Okie doke. See how we're faring, or not faring. Oh, still up on the full mark. I guess that's a good thing. We're not leaking, which is still surprising. Here we go again. Hot. Foggy. There's the dipper right in my face. Well, that's a good sign. It's still there. Can't see it because it's hot and muggy in there. See if we can do it before it fogs up. Yeah, there it is. Still attached. So I have a small collection of belts. Nothing musty one style or anything. One on the outside is the one that came with the snowblower. This is an extra I have. This is an extra I have. I'm thinking we go little or go home and go straight to the small one while I have the engine unmounted from the deck. Because I think what's happening is the engine fires, right? You get a big burst of energy and it pulls on one side of the belt, which stretches it a small amount. And then as the engine decelerates off of that firing impulse, the belt shrinks again and it all compounds. And then you get all this insane flippy flappy going on the deck. I call it the deck. On the pallet. So why don't we shrink it up as much as we can and try again. That's all I can think of. The other thing that's probably compounding our issues is the crank is bent. And I have beat that crank as hard as I could with a hammer to the point where I thought I was going to break it. I don't want to do any more because I don't want to break it because then the experiment's completely over. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, got the short belt on. Try again. Get going, Herc. You're not going to like this. Oh. Drained all the gas out. Should probably put that back in. There we go. That should work a little better. All right, baby. Let's do this. Almost forgot my spark plug boot. Wow. She's getting toasty. I think we need some more forced air. You know, I was starting to get discouraged there for a little bit, because this marks a year from the first time I tried this, and it didn't go so well. You know, I was thinking to myself, part of my problem was probably the fact that the carb was not fully seated on the that intake plastic, and that it was broken. And the engine was probably running at crappy ratios when it was actually firing. Now that we have that fixed, and we have this marvel behind us of just science and engineering to the finest abilities, it's going okay. It's loud. The belt's probably not going to last too terribly long because it's slapping. It's doing the... But this has been fun. And the engine's running great. I feel like if it wasn't getting oiling, we would have blown up a long time ago, because this is this is a pretty big torture test. There's a couple critical things when you're doing a durability test. One of those is adequate cooling. Look out, Herc. Get going. It's going to be loud. Dragon. Welcome back, folks. It's a new and moist day today. I'm going to go ahead and try some riggery, because I'd like to spin this thing in the forward direction. It was making some unpleasant noises in the reverse direction. I give you permission. You may go ahead and laugh. Robbed another pulley from the snowblower guts. This is mounted nice and sideways so that you can change your angle of attack here. I'm thinking we're going to go right about here and screw it onto the deck. That way, we get more of a direct line. Hopefully, it won't jump belts as much anymore. Installation complete, including a brace. Let's fire up old curvy shaft, see how it goes. Because it is chilly, we'll do a little jump start. Smells like ether in here. I know I'm funny. Funny looking. Come on, you can do it. Our tensioner is working. Oh man, I thought we were good. Probably just a little too fast. Let's give these pulleys a little love down here. Probably go ahead and reinstall this pin now. I was sort of letting it freewheel just to help maybe with startup, so there's not so much mass to turn, but now that we know it can handle it. Oh, the other part's still in there. That could be part of my issue here. There it is. Remember, don't over tighten your shear bolt or it won't shear, because you'll just sandwich the inner shaft to the outer sleeve and it'll never break. Ask me how I know. And before we blow up the gearbox, let's go ahead and top it off. This originally came with oil. All the seals blew out, so I filled it up with multi-purpose grease. And it's been running that way for, I want to say, I don't know, 8 years. 4, 5, 6. Should probably stop now. Let's say 7 full-on pumps of grease Should take care of our hard-working gearbox there. Okay. Let's get back to work. Interesting. I added shims, which tightened the belt up, and it stalled the engine out. Too much side force on the crank? It's a great way to wreck your engine pretty quick. I'm starting to smell raw oil. Not burned oil, but hot, raw oil. I think it's probably coming out of that seal there, because I see speckles over here. So we may have to cut this short soon. Don't get me wrong, it's tight, but it's not that tight. Well, this is getting thoroughly annoying. I don't know where we're coming off of. I turned that guy down there a little bit, and I put some shims on here. Hopefully that'll work out our bugs. Welcome back, folks. It's a new and butt cold day outside. I was going to conclude at the end of that last clip. I can't do it. We need more runtime. So, let's get to it. Alrighty, last ditch effort. I rotated the blower like so. That way we're getting more of a straight shot to the pulley, because I think we were dislodging? We were debelting down here at that roller. Now, the angle on this one is a little steeper. So I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just give it a shot. Cross your fingers. Good news is it's nice and cold. Should have adequate cooling. And we are off. Apparently our pulley wants to be in a different position this time. I'm fine with that. We can compromise. It's important to compromise in a testing relationship. And go. All right. I think we ran out of gas. Finally. Yep, she empty. What do you think? We do a little more or we call it there? I mean, I think we've proven it's gonna last. Oil check. Clean and full. I don't really smell much gas. This thing was running hot. Any fuel dilution in the oil should have burned off. Or, since we're not feeding it back into the intake, it should have evaporated and caused issues with the ozone layer. Who's ready for a super crisp recording? Is that the slinger right in our face? We need some crank rotation. Hold on. Try again. Did the slinger survive? Oh, heck yeah, it survived. Oh, what a great day. Just a great day. What else can we take a look at while we're in here? There's our crankshaft, connecting rod. There's our piston. Whoa, stay out of the Earl. Oh, that's not the Earl, that's the crank. I mean, everything's wet, which is great. And no, I didn't shake this up before I tipped it on its side. But, oh man, this is awesome. What a fun project. There are so many vertical shaft engines out there that go to waste. Because nobody wants a vertical shaft engine for something like a go-kart. Nah, I mean. Alright, folks. I think that was a... My helper. He's been drooled on. Did Titan drool on your head? Yeah. Did Titan drool on your head? Let's get you cleaned up. Looks like you drooled on your face, too. You guys stop chewing on each other. Alright, folks. I think, Take two. Take two. Keep going. Let me do my outro, and then I'll give you itchies. Sit. Sit. I can't say A-L-R-I-G-H-T, because then he'll move. Anyway, I think this was a pretty good success. This was a lot of fun for me. Also a lot of work. Little guy lasted about 2 tanks of fuel, maybe a little bit more. I'd say about 2.5 hours worth of just constant testing. We sped it up a little bit in the end here. Turned up the heat a little bit. Sometimes I get to the point where I just keep trying to make it work, and I need to just walk away for a while. And that's what I did. Took a few days off, had some family time, came back and said, well, why don't we just do this simple thing, and it'll maybe work better. But tell me what you want to see next. Do we want to tear it down and take a look at the insides? Do we want to look at, you know, the cylinder, the bearings, all that good stuff? I didn't do it before and after, so we're not going to have a baseline. I was just way too excited to do all that beforehand. I wanted to see if this was even going to work. Or, do you want me to keep running it? You want me to put some more fuel through it, see how long it lasts, see if we can get it to fail? We could try to hook it to something else, see if we can power something else. We could look at the cute puppy. And so, if in the future you find yourself really excited, we gotta find a new ending. If in the future you find yourself violently excited, if in the future you find yourself searching for a new and exciting adventure, come on over. I will be here. We gotta tear into that little mower next. See what excitement it has to hold. Alright. Come on, Hurt, let's go.